Shalom Aleichem and welcome to Online Smicha. There is the Isser in the Torah, the Isser of Baal Tolen, which applies to a employer who hires employees to do work for him, and at the end of the work, or at the end of this agreed time, he has to pay their salary. So the Torah says that he has an Isser, he's prohibited to withhold their salary. He has to pay him at due time. Now, this halacha is obvious that the person worked for you, the person did his job, there was an agreement, you have to pay. But there are some details to this halacha. And why is it that we find people that they do their job and yet their organizations or their employers don't always necessarily pay exactly on time? I mean, how is it that they're not going against the halacha of the Torah? So there are two basic rules here. Number one, this only applies when the employee is teveya his money. He asks for his money. When he asks for his money, then, quote unquote, he needs his money. He shows he needs it. So the person not giving it to him is withholding it. If the employee is not asking for it, at that moment, it looks like there was a previous an agreement that as long as I don't ask for it, you the boss could still invest or do whatever you need in the business with the money, and whenever you have the money, you'll give it to me. Also, it also applies only when the boss has money and he's just withholding. If at that moment the boss does not have cash money to pay, obviously he can't create money. I mean, maybe he should have thought in advance and not taken upon himself responsibility to hire workers that he can't pay. But the Isser does not apply unless he has money in his hand, he just withholds it. And the third thing, which is interesting, is it does not necessarily apply in every job that people do for you. It only applies for a hired worker, which means to say, if I ask somebody, I need a job to be done, painting, plumbing, secretary, anything, and we make an agreement to do the job, and then at the end of the time, where's my salary, and I withhold it, then there is an Isser. If, however, the person was not hired, the individual offered his services, which halachically that's called yorei l'tochsada chaverei. Yorei l'tochsada chaverei means to say, a person walks by my house, he walks by my field, and he sees something in my house, outside my field, he sees some type of work that has to be done, that he knows that I, the homeowner, the field owner, is going to do it anyways. I might be out of town, I might be busy, so you figure, you know what, if the owner is going to do it anyways, my friend goes ahead and does it, willingly, knowing or not knowing, he did it for me, and then he sends me a bill. So the halacha is, I have to do it anyways. Would I hire somebody else? Could be I had somebody else in mind to do it, but this job is something. It wasn't a luxurious thing. He didn't plant something new. He did something that the house had to be fixed. So this is something that a responsibility, a bill that had to be paid. The fact that he did it for me, I have to pay him. But he's not my hired worker. I could pay him on my time, on my terms, on my time, on my timetable. So the Isser of Baal Tolen doesn't apply. Even if he asks me and he sends me a bill, I don't have to pay him that exact moment. So based on this summary of this halacha of Baal Tolen, a very interesting shaila is discussed lately in the Shailas of Teshuvas Sfarim. And a specific case, a shadchan. Now we know in the Sfarim, a shadchan has two parts to it. Has the halachic ramification. A shadchan is like an agent. It's no different than if you hire an agent to buy intervene and help you buy a house, you pay a fee. So a shadchan working on your behalf for a shidduch, you have to pay a fee. That's fine. And then there is what you say, in the Kabbalah Sfarim, Chassidus Sfarim, how it helps for the shalom bayis of the future family and the banim of nei banim ba'iskim b'Torah mitzvahs, etc., etc. But besides for that, so the shidduch is Baruch Hashem made, and the shadchan is getting paid, wants to get paid. So at what time should you pay the shadchan? Okay, so here there are two levels of a shadchan. There is the shadchan that you asked him, listen, I have a son, I have a daughter, please find me a shidduch. You are my hired worker. If you are my hired worker, then when he produces and he does the job, you have the halacha of paying up the hired worker as a sachir, about talin, if he asks. Because when he asks, then the second part kicks in, then now you're responsible to pay. If, however, the shadchan was not asked on your behalf, he offered, he came on his own, he was yoyrei l'toich tzadach haverei, sure you should pay. But the baltalin doesn't apply. You should pay. Fine, he did a job for you. He sends a bill and fixes something for your house, you have to pay. But you don't have the rush to pay right away. But then there's one more interesting chap. And that is, it says in Achrayim, yes, I know that the Isser of Baal Talin only applies when the Sachir, the hired worker, asks for his money, because until then, it doesn't look like he's withholding, the employer is withholding the money. Only when the employee asks for it. So if the shadchan asks for it, then he deserves to get it. How about if the shadchan, or in any other case, the sachir, the regular employer, the employee, is a shy person? He doesn't feel comfortable asking for his check. That happens. All he does, he walks by the office of the boss, or he sits down next to the boss, and that for the employee is enough. That's enough courage. He can't even do that, just to see if the boss will remember that, oh, it's payday, I got to give the check. So if the shadchan shows up to the l'chaim, this is a shayla I saw discussed. If the shadchan shows up to the l'chaim, does that mean it's payday? Because not necessarily. You have to verbalize that my job was done. Where's my money? I want the money, because by halacha, you don't necessarily have to verbalize and say, please, I did my job, where's my payment? Sometimes because of people being shy, just by doing an act of showing up, for them it's like verbalizing, where's my money? So halachically, the Achrayim say, because that would put them in, most of the shadchanim, if they're asked to do the job, that would put them in the status of a shadchan. A shadchan would put them in the gather of a sachir. If the person, the mechutanim, actually have the cash flow, then they would actually be mechuyev to pay the schar shadchanis right away.